Hey guys, I'm going to show you more Minecraft today with another tour in my city, the Imperial City. You will find a link in the description to the first video, and maybe you remember that we finished this first video with the cathedral. So now I'm going to continue the tour and show you other districts and buildings in the city. Here we are entering a district which is inspired by the city of Florence in Italy, and it is made of various houses and Italian palaces from the Renaissance. And above this district you have a reproduction of the Cathedral of Florence that many gamers know well. I think it was reproduced in Assassin's Creed, I believe. And you have a marketplace. I let you have a look at how the details are made. And this is the cathedral. Here on the side there is another large palace that I'm going to show you in a minute, and the gardens especially, but I'm going to quickly show you the inside of this cathedral, which has not been finished. So here you see this decoration, which is simpler than the Gothic cathedral we saw before. This entire part has not been decorated, but this is just to give you a few ideas, such as these decorations above the main entrance. Now we are going to see the Summer Palace, which is one of the biggest builds in the city. You remember maybe that in the first video we saw the Winter Palace, and this is together with the Winter Palace, the other large palace in the city. And this time the idea was to try and make good looking gardens and spectacular interiors. So I let you have a look at the general appearance. That's a palace looking a bit like Versailles or the Louvre palace in Paris, with French style gardens in front of it, but more importantly behind the palace there is a large park. I'm going to show you a bit of the aerial view here. You see that there are symmetrical gardens with designs that were elaborated specifically for this park. There are a few statues too, fountains, various kinds of decoration, and I'm going to show you a little bit this park. So there are things like this little maze here were rather popular in the 18th century. And you have another maze with a rounded shape, green houses here with a few palm trees. This is an example of fountain. And basically we've been mixing various elements of gardens as they were made in the 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. This little neoclassic temple that we just crossed is an example of that. The park has not been finished, and there are also a few artificial islands with this kind of decorative building. This one is what the French gardeners in the 18th century called the chinoiserie, small buildings that reminded of the Chinese style, which was appreciated for its exotism. And in this part you have a reproduction of the smaller palace in the park at Versailles, but it has been destroyed. It does no longer exist now, which was called the Grand Trianon, the Great Trianon. Here, this is like a small cemetery for the imperial family. I'm going to show you the secret passage below the monument. You see this lever opens the door, and you can explore like a network of rooms and crypts under the palace's park. So this is quite intricate. I'm not going to show you everything, but there are various rooms and other passages that go down, and you can explore various caves and crypts under this cemetery. But now, as we come back to the surface, a bit of sun will be better. And to conclude with the park, I'm going to show you this place made to grow oranges. This is another thing that kings in the 18th century liked a lot in England or in France, having this little orangerie, as they were called. Okay, now we are going to enter the palace, and I will show you some of the interiors. This is the main hall. Well, we should have entered the other way, so it looks like this. And this hall on several levels gives access to the various floors of the palace. But I'm going to essentially show you the most heavily decorated floor, where you have this kind of smaller halls, and on this side I think this is the theater, yeah, of the palace, which is decorated with gold blocks and generally red wool. And this is the theater's stage. A little quote by Shakespeare, and this is a fake stage, so this is voluntarily simple to make it look like artifacts for the play. Now with a bit more light, just an idea when you want to make inside decoration, you can double the walls, and this allows you to decorate the inside with a totally different color than the outside. This has been used in almost all of this palace. So as we continue now, there are more rooms, such as this dining room here, with mainly yellow and orange blocks, a bit of furniture, and after this one you have this library, still with a glass ceiling to let the light enter the room, and you have a little desk and access to the books. The lightning, you see, has been directly stuck within the ceiling. And here we arrive to another entrance of the palace. This one has been designed with colder colors. You see the bluish green columns, and once again you have lightning with the redstone blocks or levers hidden inside the walls. I'm not going to show you the entire palace because that would take ages, but one last look at the general appearance. You see there is a system of various levels connected with stairs, and I'm going to return to the central island where a good half of the city is built, to show you another building called the Zodiac Temple. So here you have this little park with a statue of elephant, and this is the Zodiac Temple, based on a church in St. Petersburg. And the interesting thing here is the inside, where there is a decoration made of blue blocks, essentially lapis lazuli and wool, and based on the theme of the zodiac, with this artificially glowing ceiling representing the sky at night. And in fact this is just wool blocks with a few torches to represent stars, and the walls are decorated with the signs of the zodiac. And you have the moon here, there is the sun on the other side, and like doors of temples that give the impression that they are floating in the sky. I let you have a look at the design of the ground too, and we are going to continue our exploration. I'm showing you only the biggest or more interesting is a district with buildings that are more inspired by buildings in Paris, the so-called Haussmannian buildings. You have an island with this Gothic tower, and we are going to arrive to a place which is inspired by the city of Venice here. If we continued our little tour in that direction, we would pass under this big building that I'm going to let load a bit, which is based on the University of Moscow. Maybe I'll show you this one and the district behind another time, because you have an entire district with more modern builds, but that's not what I wanted to show you today. I'm going to detail this, which, as I said, is inspired by Venice. So you have a system of canals and plenty of little bridges like this, connecting the buildings. And here the idea was more to try to do something charming, more than spectacular, with these buildings inspired by various Venetian buildings. The fun part when you build this is to manage the complexity of the levels, the stairs, the decoration. And above this district, on a hill, you have this Baroque church, which reminds of various churches you can see in Austria, in the south of Germany, or in Italy. And the inside too has been finished. We are right under the main dome here, and it is decorated in the Baroque style. You see this kind of broken triangles. They are typical of altars decoration in Baroque buildings, and you have smaller altars on the various corners of the building. Essentially the materials have been changed. This one is a bit darker, and this one is blue. And here, well, it's raining now, but normally you get a quite nice view on the surroundings of the building. And this is the decoration of this dome that we saw from the outside before. Okay, now if we continue our visit under the sun if possible, I'm going to give you a quick look at the campanile of the church. This, we're going to have a look at the bell on the top of this. This was inspired by Italian campaniles. The campaniles are the towers built near the churches, and from its top you get nice view of the city, but the problem is the length of the horizon in Minecraft is limited. And now I'm going to give you a little look at this other large building which is a museum too, like the first museum we saw in the first episode, and like the other one, this building has a glass roof and ceiling to let natural light enter, which makes it quite a luminous building. And it is a war museum, so here I let my inner 9-year-old in control, and I'm going to show you a few war machines that I designed. I made the interior of this building, not the outside. If you download the comments in the building are in French and English. This is like a giant lens, like the ones Archimedes would have used in the antiquity to burn ships. And this is a catapult. Many people believe that the catapults are from the Middle Age, when in fact they are from the antiquity. They were not built in the Middle Age, contrary to this, which is a siege tower, and this was used to attack fortresses or fortified cities and reach the top of the walls. And here you've got more siege machines like this, which is a Scorpio. It was able to propel like a large arrow, and this I think is called a trébuchet in English. The French word is used, and this was the most popular machine for sieges in the Middle Age. And here you've got early examples of artillery, like a bombard here, because it is in the Middle Age that the first pieces of artillery, the first guns, appeared, even though they were extremely basic and not very efficient. Now we are going to see another section, which is like the early industrial section, with bigger guns, such as these ones. And the first machines, remember that this is not historically accurate. I invented many things, such as this, which is like a giant steam tank with a turret on the top and various other guns. And inside you have two levels, one with all the machinery here, and the pilots would have been supposed to sit here and control the various turrets with these levers. These are the axles of the wheels. So that was the steam juggernaut, I think I called it. And this is another fantasy weapon, a giant gun that can be oriented and works with wheels. I'm going to show you the inside of it. It's quite simple, but you have a place for the pilots to work, and a few windows to see the outside. And if we go on this way, you have more invented machines, like I'm showing you the inside of the giant gun. So that was a multi-cannon, I think it's called, yeah, with various guns put together, and this sort of tractor here is like a crushing machine. It works with steam, and you have two giant hammers. Well, not very serious, but I essentially had fun making this. Now we are arriving in the 20th century with this kind of tanks. You see the turret. This is a mix of the designs of British and French tanks in the First World War, the British Matildas and the FT-17 for the French. I mixed the two designs, and this is invented too. It's a combat tower on wheels, and I'm not going to show you the inside, but you have a special command room inside to orientate and drive the combat tower. Smaller tanks. This one is made in another district of the city, the industrial district that I could show you another time, with giant factories. And here you have examples of turrets coming from fortifications. They are coming from a fortress that is also in another part of the city. And now for the last section, we are arriving in the more modern and fantasy part of the museum. First with this creature, like a tank destroyer precisely, with a shape of spider, with various legs and guns. And this would be my favorite. That's a giant robot, a mecha, with the inside too. We're going to quickly look at the inside. Sorry, the texts are in French, but here this is where the pilot sits. This is the reactor, and there is another room below for the control of the various weapons. Okay, we've been having a look at the main objects in the museum. Now I'm going to quickly show you the inner courtyard. That's a statue of Atlas. In the Greek mythology, he was the giant who was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And now we are arriving on the central square of the city. This is where we started building, in fact. So most of these buildings are a bit simple in comparison with others we saw before. There is a triumph arc, like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, and this is the room where the throne of the city's emperor is installed. That's in a very old building too, so it looks quite simple. I'm showing you the inside of it now. You see that this is fairly basic. That's always the problem with Minecraft. There are constantly new blocks and options, so the earliest buildings are not on the same level as the most recent ones. And I let you have a look at the buildings around the square. There are several zeppelins in the sky of the city too. This is one of my first buildings. This was a palace, but it's fairly simple in comparison with others that I made later. And I'm going to end this here for today with this sunset. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour once again, and please let me know if you want to see more, because I could spend another half an hour with you and show you other parts, such as the industrial district and the stadium. Bye bye.